And good morning to Beena ma'am. Roy T. Bennett, in his book, The Light in the Heart, writes, "You're unique. You have a different talent and abilities. You don't have to always follow in the footsteps of others. And most important, you should always remind yourself that you don't have to do what everyone else is doing and have a responsibility to develop the talents you have been given." A very good afternoon to one and all once again. I cordially welcome you all to the second session of 6th day of International Faculty Development Program on New Paradigms in Management Education. This session is going to be addressed on Global Talent Management by Beena Kumar, Director, Wincosolve Technologies Limited. She is joining us from today from London, UK. These days, organizations' talent is its primary source of competitive advantage. The performance of an organization depends upon the performance of its employees. If employees of an organization possess a unique competence, that will be differentiated them from their competitors. In this competitive environment, retention of talent workforce is a major task for HR managers along with the acquisition. Talent management is a very complex and critical task. Right talent acquisition makes organizational strategy more strong. The current global economic situation has increased job seekers in the employment market worldwide. But there is a still notable talent shortage in different sectors of different countries. This leads to an increase in problem of talent mismatch. As today's corporate world requires a person with multitasking skills, talent acquisition is becoming very difficult. As a result, finding the right person for a particular job is becoming more challenging. Not only acquisition, even retention of the talented workforce has become the greatest challenge for the organizations. Today's changing landscape of business requires its HR to act more strategically to build employee engagement with this great tool for talent management. Talent management focuses on how individuals enter, move across, and out of the organization. Now, I request Ms. Madhushri, Assistant Professor of Management and Coordinator of this program, to welcome us all. Over to you, Madhu.
Thank you, Pallavi. Good afternoon, one and all. It's my pleasure and duty to bid you all a genuine welcome. First and foremost, I heartily welcome our optimistic leader, who is the guiding force behind this program, Dr. B. Chandrasekhara, Chief Patron of this program and Principal of Government First Rate College, Vijayanagar, Bengaluru. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I, on behalf of GFGC Vijayanagar and Organizing Committee, I cordially welcome our chief guest and today's resource person, Beena Kumar, Director, Wincosolve Technologies Limited, London, UK. Despite her busy schedule, she accepted our invitation to share her valuable knowledge and experience on global talent management. Welcome you, Beena.
Thank you, Madhushri. Good afternoon, guys. And well, it's good morning. Well, and you're sitting at the comfort of your home, and I'm sitting at the comfort of my home, like thousands of miles away. And we're still connecting. What better example than globalization right now?
Yeah.
Thanks
Good morning,
to Elon
madam.
Musk. In
Good morning,
few
madam.
years,
Yeah, good morning.
maybe we will be talking to someone in Mars very soon.
Thank you, Beena. I also heartily welcome Dr. Shubha, patron of this program and IQAC coordinator of GFGC Vijayanagar, who tremendously work for the betterment of our college. Now it's my great pleasure to welcome Professor Manjula, convener of this program, also HOD of Management Department, who is the great supporter to organize this program. I cordially welcome Professor Kishore Kumar, organizing secretary of this program. I wholeheartedly welcome Professor Pallavi, coordinator and moderator of this session. Now it's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all our delegate participants. You are the twinkling stars of this session. At last, here is a big welcome for all the teaching and non-teaching faculties of GFGC Vijayanagar, Bengaluru. Your presence and support makes us very glad. Once again, welcome you all as flowers in May. Now I take a privilege and honor of introducing our today's resource person, Beena Kumar, Director, Wincosolve Technologies Limited, London, United Kingdom. Madam has 15 years of hands-on expertise in entrepreneurship, HR, sales, training, operations, and administration. Madam areas of expertise are resourcing, recruitment using bespoke software at fast pace, strategic planning and developing business roadmaps, business and financial mapping, sales and business development, administration including payroll, visa processing, and company housework. Madam also has an ability to scale up in a fast-paced, structured as well as unstructured environment while adhering to strict guidelines and deliverables. So just to give a brief overview of her work experience, Madam started her corporate journey from Process Mind Private Limited, Bengaluru, India, in the year 2002 as a business processing agent. Again, she worked as a center head at SDG and Apex HR Solutions, Bengaluru, India. She also worked as a HR manager at Optimos India Private Limited, Pune. Also worked as a HR manager at ECMI India Limited, Pune. She also worked as operation head at Hiring Tools Limited, Hyderabad, India. She also worked as director at Trey Software Solutions Limited, where she has planned and conceptualized various strategies to achieve growth in business volumes and profitability. And she evaluated cost effectiveness and analyzed competitor strategies. She worked as a proprietor at Ebenezer Enterprise, Bengaluru, India, where she established operations and vendor network for Catering Indian Express, a leading English newspaper in India. She handled inventory management, employee management, customer services, sales, and business expansion. Then in the year 2015, she relocated to London, United Kingdom. There she began her career with Meganexus Limited, London, UK. There she worked as an HR consultant and handled entire recruitment process, candidate submissions, rate negotiations, end client interviews, closures, paperwork, contracts, and billing on day-to-day basis for software development company. Then she also worked as HR consultant with Delphi Software Limited, London, UK. There she worked as a Tier 2 visa sponsorer licensing process for IT consulting firm. She designed HR processes, strategies for international recruitment. Currently, she is a director of Wincosolve Technologies Limited, London, UK. Ma'am has undertaken a lot of job responsibilities and roles in her career. I hope she would be the better and best speaker to handle today's session on global talent management. I once again heartily welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, Pallavi.
Thank you, Madhu, for your honest welcome. I welcome you to the program as a coordinator and as a colleague. Okay, now I request all the participants to put their videos on for the photo session. Once it is done, we shall hand over it to Beena, madam. Kindly put your videos on for the record purpose. Are we done, sir? So let's begin the session. Ms. Beena, over to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Just initially itself, I'm going to say if there is any disturbance from my dogs, I'm sorry about that. All right. So I do have two big Labradors, you know, they might create a bit of trouble every now and then in barking. So I apologize if they do. All right. So it's good. You know, I'm a bit nervous because all of you guys are, you know, teachers, and, you know, we are dreaded always to think that, oh my God, teachers, you have to be careful, you know, that's the kind of culture that we come from. So I'll try my best to give you guys whatever knowledge I have. All right. So shall we start the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Sure. All right. All right, I'm going to be talking about global talent management, and I think it aptly suits me because, I have worked in India, born, brought up over there. Now I have relocated to the UK, doing my business over here, work with different sectors. I have worked with US companies. I have worked with UK, Australian companies, Singapore based. So there is a lot of gap between the market expectations and what we can. And, finding the right skill is always a big issue for any company, as a matter of fact. Even if you're talking about Tesla, if you're talking about Amazon or Google, it's always a big, big, big challenge for everyone in the market, right? All right. Just need to move you guys on this side. All right. See, as we know, the global talent management had a very big paradigm shift in the 21st century. And I'm probably one of the baby boomers of those era, because that's when I started my career. Okay, because there has been so much of talent shortage. So they had to come up with the globalization, the mobility of staffs on global scale, all right? And internet has always helped. Internet has really shrunk our world. There is no escaping. Nobody can hide today in today's world because everything is so easily accessible. Not like when we were studying in our college time, we didn't know. We had the ancient ways of, communicating with people with telephones and writing and telegrams. But
Request the audience to mute themselves. It's causing a disturbance.
Okay. Okay, when we talk about global talent management, all right, it is a process that involves systematic identification of key positions, okay, significantly, because no company can sustain on its own, right? You can have as many equipment as you want. You can have as many as whatever you want, resources and all this stuff. But identifying the right candidate for the organization is a key, all right? The competitive and the advantage, the identification, attraction, recruitment, development, retention of the individual completely impacts the output of the company itself, all right? And I have been through it, being in recruitment for 15 years. I have seen my company fail because I had hired wrong people for the company. I have seen other companies fail because they had hired wrong people. I wouldn't say wrong people as in it's wrong people, because it's just, that's what I'm going to take you guys through, okay? How the cultural fitment is going to work, because one person who might be the right person for a company might be a wrong person for another company, all right? So we're going to talk about 6 principles of global talent management, all right? We have alignment. Okay, I have to move the screen because this is kind of getting in my way. Sorry. Okay. There are 6 strategies that we implement during our recruitment process, which is global talent management. One is alignment with the strategy, which is very, very important. Internal consistency, cultural embeddedness, management involvement, balance of global and local need, and employer branding to differentiation. Okay. When we talk about aligning its strategy, okay, corporate strategy is not a starting point for thinking about the talent management. A Roman philosopher once said, a man does not know what port he needs to stir for, and no wind is favorable. All right. So if you do not have your strategy in place, you are bound to fail. And every company comes up with their own strategy. Let's take, for example, GE. They talk about technology leadership. They talk about service acceleration, enduring customer relationship, resource allocation, and globalization. This is the basic foundation that the company works with. And this defines what kind of talents do we actually go ahead and need. Internal consistency. Internal consistency is the single point that needed for any organization to succeed. If there is no consistency, there is a trickle-down effect happens, because if you do not have your consistency, you don't have a consistency in your culture. If you do not have consistency in your culture, you're not going to recruit the right resources for your company. And you're going to leave your candidates and your employees bamboozled. They're going to be confused. They won't have the alignment with what has been required of them or the company. The mapping is not right. And that's when the cultural mismatch happens and attrition happens. Okay. So implementing the practice in isolation does not at all work. And I am a classic example for that, as a matter of fact. Okay. I had one of my organization, I'm going to give you some examples. I had one of my companies, which is called Price Software, that I was working with. So the consistency was not there with the rest of the team, and the company did not take off in a way that we expected it to, because the consistency was not there. That is the basic principle of any company. And what happens is you cannot set your KPIs. You don't know how to give the direction for your company. You don't know how to give direction for your employees. Well, when we talk about cultural embeddedness, okay, I'm not going to talk about a lot of consistency, because I think it's pretty much, because I would talk about cultural embeddedness, because this gives a lot more idea for you guys, because I think this is an area where there is a gap. And this is where I think as a faculty, you guys can go ahead and empower your students how to go ahead and choose the right company for yourself, and how to ensure that they do understand what they need, what is their need, and what are they looking for. All right. I'm sorry, guys, just hang on a minute, because there's too many things around here. Okay, I'm just trying to, as less distraction as possible on my screen. It seems to be happening. Okay. Many successful companies consider their corporate culture as a source of sustainable competitive advantage. We know that there is a lot of culture that is there right now. If you talk about Google, you have a 4 days working policy. I know most of you guys would want, your students want to go and work in Google, if I'm not wrong, or Facebook or Amazon, with the perks that they give: coffee, tea, snacks, and ping pong tables, breaks, cultural activities, and everything. Okay. They make deliberate effort to integrate their stated core values and business principle in the talent management process. Okay. But when we actually look at that as well, if you see, Google has given us so many perks to their employees, but their attrition level is still higher. Why would that be? Because there are different sort of people, irrelevant how much of a perks you might give. If I were to go and work in Google, I personally might not stay, because I believe in working with small companies, being more dynamic, being more effective, and having different verticals to work upon. That becomes my key value as faculties for you guys is to identify and help your students to go ahead and identify what their sectors and what sort of a cultural fitment really works for them. There was one instance, one of my friend actually told me that if you give peanuts, you get monkeys. He was a recruit, he was one of the senior directors who worked with me in India. And that was a standard statement for all the big companies who always believed in cost cutting. And he used to say, you give peanuts, you get monkeys. So it's a value that the business puts into the talent management process as hiring method. And the leadership really plays a big role in all these activities. Performance management, the compensation, the benefit process. But on the contrary, I'm going to talk about IKEA. I'm pretty sure because IKEA is in Bangalore now. No, I don't think they are in Bangalore. They are in Hyderabad. I'm not sure if many of you guys have visited IKEA. It's a Swedish-based furniture company. And I'm pretty sure most of you might have heard about IKEA. So their core value about their business, and they are the top players in the market at this moment when it comes to furnitures. So they believe in value, cultural fitment. Okay? That is their standard skill that they work on. They experience in the academical, whatever job applications that might they have or values, that is what they're going to emphasize on. So if you look at their counterpart, who is also one of their competitors, which is Wayfair, which is a web-based company, which is actually fast growing, which is in 5 countries right now. Their value is basically easy access, user-friendly. So different market players play different roles and they have their own culture that they believe in. So as a young person, when you are actually going ahead for an interview, you need to first and foremost look this for your cultural embeddedness, whether you would be able to fit into this culture, or are you looking at a fast-paced culture? Are you looking at software, innovation, growth, value system, or you want to be a cutthroat businessman? Depends. So cultural embeddedness really is one of the very key areas for any industry to work and attract the right talent towards them. Just because we have a great culture does not mean it is going to really work, isn't it? We need everyone's involvement, because one person alone is not at all going to make the show work. You need to have your top talent management people, the board, the CEO, the managers, the senior leaders to be actively involved in the talent management process, making recruitment, succession planning, leadership development, retention of key employees, and their top priority. They must be willing to devote their significant amount of time to each activity. Unilever, for example, they believe in recruiting only the very best. To make this happen, the top level management must make time for interviews, even face all the other responsibilities. Line managers can contribute by acting as coaches and mentors, providing job shadowing opportunities, and encouraging talented employees to move forward within the organization career development. And which I have seen, this has become a predominantly market practice. I'm not sure if it is being, because I haven't worked in India for a very long time now. So I do not know if it is a cultural process right now, but most of the European companies and the US companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Sky, BT, you take most of the bigger names. Most of the apprentice, they have a mentor. a senior mentor who works with them hand in hand, explaining their work, giving them all the required knowledges that they need, and ensure that the talent is groomed to be a future, productive employee of the organization. Hang on. All right. So when we talk about balance of global and local needs, we all are in a global. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of your students who come to you saying that I want to work in US, I want to work in UK, I want to work in Europe, I want to be working in this country, okay? Because as the globalization is happening, so we are looking at moving, balancing the local needs and the international needs. For that, companies to figure out how to respond to the local demands while maintaining a coherent HR strategy and management approach. Companies' decision about how to make local control to allow depend partly on the industry. For instance, consumer product needs to be more attuned to the local market than the pharmaceuticals or software. I've had a lot of people in India, especially friends and family, who come and they say, I'm in marketing. Can you get me a job in UK? And I'm like, really, you want to come to UK? It's not going to be possible. And they're like, why? Because I see all the IT guys who are coming to UK, but why can't we? This is exactly the point, because it's a global need. There is a global need, but what is a local need? The local need depends on what is the industry that we're working. If they come with an IT demand, it's very easy for me because the global lead is very different, because the cultural embeddedness is going to happen very easily. And the local markets are very different. And that is something that we need to understand. Most of the people are not very attuned to the cultural differences when it comes to different industry. They think that software, pharmaceutical, or sales and marketing, or let's say any of the retail industry is the same. But it's actually not. It is very, very, very different, because every country has its own cultural set. They have their own needs, and the experiences also do count when you are coming from a different global market to a local market. And it becomes, I have seen that there are a lot of IT people who have come here, who have been doing very good in India. They come over here. And the saddest part is that they do work as employees in Tesco, or they work as postmen, or some cleaner. Why is there such a global, difference? They were a very nice IT people. They had a very good job. They had very good bank balance. They had a very reputed company that they were working with. But the moment they move into another country, it seems like they are on a downslide. The reason being is they're not able to understand the market, the local market need. It's not always very, very global. It's across all the domains or all the verticals or all the industry. And furthermore than being static, a company's position may evolve over time. Okay. So if you look at Tesco might have not, I'm pretty sure you guys do know about Tesco as well. It was one of the biggest supermarket giant here. And if anyone had to go into a Tesco maybe 15 years ago in UK, they would probably see only white people, not Indians, not Polish, not Romanians, but just probably white people because they wanted them to go ahead, have good English, so they could talk to their customers, give them the right customer service. But if you actually go and say today, 50% of the population is Asian, Romanian, Polish. So it can be very drastically changing as and when the market need increases. And they don't have a choice. They have to expand because times are evolving. Tomorrow there might be a Tesco in Mars that we might have to go to. And we might be talking to an employee over there in Mars saying, how is the Tesco culture out there? You know? So the market is very, very, very dynamic right now. So most of the companies now, what they're doing is they're talking about branding through their differentiation. That's how they want to attract talent. And I'm sure you guys being faculty, I'm sure you have a lot of, drives that you have with the industry. After they finish their education, they come, they have their in-house interviews that they come for, trying to scoot your talent out, right? Attracting the right talent means marketing the corporation to the people while fulfilling their talent requirements. In order to attract employees with the right skill and attitude, company needs to find ways to differentiate themselves from competitors. Let's talk about somebody from IIT, IIM. They're not looking at anyone who is a startup, majorly. They're looking at companies which are differentiators, probably Google, Amazon, or any of the big companies, big names in the industry. So there is a differentiator. And what are the differentiators that they are using? Salary package, talent growth, training, internal sorry, I'm just lost for the word. Internally giving you a hierarchy, skill, attitude, and also internal promotions, right? So these are some of the competitors these are the parameters that most of the students are looking at. So if you are top, you are going to look at a top company which gives you all the perks, maybe a car to pick you up and drop you up, maybe bonuses, 4 days working, 1 day work from home. Let's say for P&G, I have given an example of P&G. Was one year, they had taken 600,000 applications worldwide, but they only hired 2,700 people, which is a huge number. Emphasis was on for long-term career and promotion within. Shell, for example, Shell has been a very, very old company. It is also a UK-based company as well. They have their UK branch here. They have their branches in India. Shell took a while to come to India, but they do their branding differently for different countries. And they try to acquire talent based on their local and the global needs. Whereas I know I had met one of my uncle, he was working in Shell. He was in Dubai long back, and he was the first employee of Shell in India. Cultural difference is so different. Whereas when he was working in Dubai, he had a very, 9-to-5 desk job, very good, off, perfectly fine. But when he came to India, he had to go ahead, go to the port, ensure the trucks were loaded. Everything was actually taken care of. Sometimes he had to ride with the truck drivers to ensure the deliverable was happening. So every company is working in different strategy and also working on aligning for their local needs as well. So one of the differentiators becomes really, really, really important. And what I would tell for the upcoming, all the young people is to look at the differentiator. Most of the people fail and they become miserable in most of the companies is because they do not know how to identify this differentiator. If you do not know how to differentiate yourself, first and foremost, and you do not know how to differentiate the company, so it is going to be very difficult. There is a mismatch. The candidates are bamboozled. The company is bamboozled. Attrition goes up. And because of the dynamic market, there is also the talent poaching that happens. Let's take, for instance, most of the people who have worked with Google have moved into Amazon now, or they have moved into Tesla or Facebook because they are more fast dynamic, they're growing. Google search engine is becoming more and more obsolete now. People are moving towards application development. People are talking about more innovation. People are talking about moving to Mars. Let's talk about Tesla. People are talking about going green. And also most of the people, it also appeals to the market when it is in alignment with the dynamic changing market. Whereas if you look at UK, there are a lot of companies who talk about go green. We are very, very, very environmental friendly. And we prefer to go ahead and shop from those companies. And if you look at their cultural embeddedness with the candidate, works in a way that they are looking at people who are aligned with their core strategic thought process. If you fail to strategize, if you are bound to fail in the company, and if you do not know how to differentiate yourself with the company and other people, you are bound to be getting yourself in a very, very big pickle at some point or another, and you are going to leave the organization. This has been the trend. So as faculties, because I'm just giving you, this is all very, very basic principles that we have. But what I would like to emphasize more on is, because I am talking to faculties, you guys are the ones who are grooming the upcoming generation, right? Most of the people now that we think that English is the most predominant language, that if you have very good English, you can go work in different companies, you can work globally, you can move to another country, you can live a very nice life, you can have all the things that you need in the market. That is absolutely possible. But there has been some emphasis which is very misinterpreted by our Indian students. One, let us talk, for instance, when you talk about English. English, if you go to Europe, no other country speaks English. It is only England that speaks English. All right. And if you want to go to Germany, which is a manufacturing hub, they are the biggest manufacturing developers in the world after Japan and Korea, I would say. But they are world leaders in manufacturing. But if you go to Germany, there is not even a single, probably maybe 10% of people might speak a little bit of English. I have seen a lot of candidates coming from the manufacturing sectors, moving into Germany and having huge issues because they are very proficient in their English, whereas they're not proficient in other languages. And what is happening is that the opportunities for different sectors are actually getting shrunk because we are not adding the value to the students to go ahead and tell them that it is not just English, which is the major criteria, but looking at your sector, you need to look at different areas as well. So we need to expand our horizon and think a little out of the box to ensure, to tell our students, or your students as a matter of fact, upcoming generation, that we need to go ahead and start analyzing those. Let's talk about semiconductors. Semiconductors, one of the biggest players, Amsterdam. They speak English, which is good, but they also prefer Dutch. How many of our students are enlightened about this sort of market requirement that is there? Let's talk about Switzerland. Switzerland is the biggest financial hub, but they don't speak English. Surprisingly, they speak German and French, which I was not aware till the time I visited there. I was surprised. Why are they speaking German? They're like, oh no, because there is a cultural thing that happens because half of the part of Switzerland was ruled by the Germans, and they do know German and they speak German, and half of it speaks French. So this is one of the areas that we need to look at, and most of the time the students miss out on this because they're not aware. They think English is really important, and we are not actually going ahead and giving them the right skill sets or the right directions. If you look at our education system itself, from our childhood, we are emphasized on speaking English. Everything that we read is in English, case study, physics, whatever you might say. But if you go to Germany, can you speak English? Can you read and write in English? No, you can't. You have to speak German. So that becomes one of the areas. So we need to look at the talent of the candidate and what is their roadmap that we need to. And we need to facilitate them to understand that this is what is the requirement that we need to go ahead. And especially now, if you see, you have Alliance Francis, which has become very big. A lot of people are taking. And we need to also work as industry. We need to work on internal talent transfer, working with different countries. Whereas we can go ahead and work with different universities in different parts of the world, where you can have internal exchanges of talent, where you can go ahead and send your student abroad for a year. I think there were a few universities which were doing, basically IIPM, I think. They were bringing in candidates, students to go ahead and have a school or college trip where they could come and work here and see how the culture is and how things work here. But if you look at most of the countries are going ahead, not only the countries, the government itself is giving a lot of opportunities to have internal transfer. If I'm not wrong, very recently, there was a bilateral agreement which happened between India and UK, where they have agreed that they would have talent exchange between the students, where students over here are going to go ahead and learn culture, learn different stuff from Indian market, and the candidates coming over there. As faculties, what I would encourage for you guys is to talk to some of the key decision makers over there. So you could go ahead and have the partnership with most of the governments and have this internal exchange. So when the candidates come over here, they do not have a cultural shock. They understand the language. They're already integrated with the culture. And it becomes very easier for them to go ahead and get the future job that they are looking for. And most of the countries are also giving a lot of leverages on the visa, as a matter of fact. Once you finish your education, they go ahead and give you a 2 years time for you to go ahead and look for a work permit. And you could go ahead, work in any organization which is available. Internal transfers. And most of the companies like Microsoft are also encouraging people from US to come and work in India. So there is a cross learning that always happens. So our employees, our local employees are learning how the culture is over there, and they are learning new talent skills. And majorly nowadays, if you see, geolocation is not at all a problem. Looking at ourselves, we are sitting here. We are talking about global recruitment from my home. You guys are sitting in Bangalore. You are accessing the computer. We are discussing about how the global market is working right now. And we are having idea exchanges. It is not becoming a problem anymore. But I, as a recruiter, as a talent acquisition person, I tend to see there is a huge gap, especially when people are coming out of MBAs. The major problem seems to be, one, their self-esteem seems to be a problem. Second, their presentation and what they are looking for seems to be a problem because they don't have a name. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what their talents are. Because when I first joined, I was working in ICICI, which was a very big company, had everything, task-driven, everything. I worked there. I was all right. Okay, fine. Everything going good. But over a period of time, I was not getting the internal satisfaction because I wanted to work in a more dynamic company, which is more fast, where I have different verticals I can venture out into. And I could work with the key decision makers to go ahead and, do extra stuff, go the extra mile, be more innovative, which was not possible when it comes to a bigger organization. So what we need to do is we need to first and foremost ensure that the new recruits do understand where they stand when it comes to their own personal career growth and align it with the company growth. Not necessarily if you're going to go work in Google, you're going to be a very, very, very happy employee. Another 15 years, you're going to be one of the senior directors or something. No, it's not probably going to happen. It could happen that within 30 months or 50 months, you might be fed up working in Google and you want to move out. What is your differentiator? Before we go ahead and look at what is the company's differentiator, we need to look at what is our differentiator as a personality. And we need to align. And that can be only done by you guys. There is nobody else who can teach them to do this. Until unless you do not tell them what is your differentiator and you understand what is the company differentiator, you are always going to have a mismatch. Absolutely going to have a mismatch. And another area where most of the people need to work on is cultural embeddedness. Okay, basically cultural shock that they have when they come to another country, especially working with the management. There is a huge difference in the management that works from one country to another country. And that becomes a big, 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 big bottleneck for most of the people to find the right amount of job, the right job in the industry. And, they find it very, very difficult to align themselves with the top management people, discussion, and also cultural difference. There is a huge cultural difference. And especially when it comes to communication, communication becomes major, major key. And so cultural difference becomes a huge, huge, huge bottleneck when it comes to global talent acquisition. Okay. And we need to do a little bit of cultural training for our candidates because they do find huge problems when they go ahead and come. These are realistic problems. These are total realistic problems that people face because they do not know the culture. They do not know how to have the right communication, right attitude, right values. So this becomes really, really important. Do you guys have any questions?
Okay, so we have come to end of the presentation session. I thank Ms. Beena Kumar for making us to understand what are the 6 principles of talent, global talent management, and what are the skills we should looking to build in our students so that they can become globally competitive and globally employed. Now I request participants to put their question answers to chat box, or they can unmute themselves and ask the questions directly to Ms. Beena. Ms. Beena, I personally have a question as a management faculty.
Yes, please.
So while training our students to be competitive, the first thing they'll go for in search of employment in Indian company or MNC, which is situated in India. So the first thing what you said is English is not a skill; it's just we have to consider it as a language. Other major developed countries does not speak English at all. But in India, when we go for an interview or when we send our children, our students for interview, the first thing they look in the students, how they speak, like if there's a GD or they're while interviewing there to tell about their personal information, they'll catch hold them there itself and they reject the candidate. So how to overcome this mismatch? I just wanted to know from you.
Are you talking about why they are being rejected for English itself?
Yes, yes, yeah, it's unable to speak English, fluent English, yeah.
Yep. I used to train for English back in days, all right. It is a very, very unfortunate thing that people do think that English is the epitome of your knowledge, all right. English is a language, and it's so unfortunate that people like us who are HRs, all right, and also top management people who really think that having good English means you're good at your job. You have the skill set. And I am trying to change that paradigm shift myself with the industry. Unfortunately, that cannot be changed in over a period of time. Over a period of time, you can. You are the guys who have to go ahead and do it because you are going ahead and grooming the future HRs, future CEOs, future directors of the country, okay, of any company. You guys are the one who are grooming them. So I always thought when I was in my school days, my teachers always used to find us saying that, you know, if you don't speak in English, if you speak in your regional language, you were fined. We were fined 1 rupee back then, every time we spoke in our regional language. But if you look at when you come to UK, when I say I can speak 6 different languages, they are aghast. What? You can speak 6 languages? I can only speak 1 language, right? So on that note, to address your question, how do candidates work? How do this gap is going to be identified? Unfortunately, there is no easy answer. The easiest answer is they have to go for training. Unfortunately, I'm very, very sorry to say this coming from a corporate company, you know, that it is what it is, right? So they need, but you also need to train them to understand where their interest lies, whether it is UK, whether it is US that they want to go to, or if they want to work in India. But unfortunately, today in India, the culture is that if you do not know English, you're not an intelligent person. You're not a right fit for the job. That's the saddest truth, but we have to accept it. We are going to accept it. But over a period of time, let's see if this do change at all. More people do come in this way and they say, you know, English is not everything. English is not the epitome of your knowledge or your IQ or your skill. It is just a way of communicating. You can communicate to anybody as long as you're clear and the other person understands and you can understand them and you can convey your message. That is what a language is. A language is just the language. It is not an epitome of a skill. And more and more companies are coming up with a lot of training programs. It's very good, even if they are not very well versed in English, their own language. They are good. All right. Even if they even if they're not good in their English, they are going ahead and recruiting a lot of people. You do have a lot of company drives that come and actually scout your own talents, right, from your universities or your colleges. So they do give training program, which is very good. But if you want to go ahead and really succeed, I would say versatility really works. And you need to look at what sector you are working in. You're looking at manufacturing sector, then look at which is the greatest, which is very good when it comes to manufacturing sector, maybe German. You need to learn German. You might need to learn Russian because Russia also has a lot of manufacturing sector, which not many people know. So unfortunately, I do not have a solution. The only thing is they have to learn English till the time the culture changes.
Are there any other questions of participants? You can unmute yourself and talk to Ms. Beena directly. There is a question in chat box. Is
Okay.
TT involves to conduct skill development programs for their employees? I don't understand what is TT is. I text that person, but he didn't return us back. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Teacher training, I think.
Sorry, sir. Come again.
TT stands for teacher training, I believe.
Teachers training. Okay. So
Training.
is teacher trainings involves to conduct skill development programs for their employees?
It's a talent transformation, madam. Talent transformation.
Talent
transformation. So that is one point that I did cover when it comes to talent transformation. All right. As faculties, what you guys can do is you can go ahead and enroll with a lot of countries and different universities, which I personally have idea and I have worked with few people on talent transfers. So you have the external transfers, internal transfers that happens between the students. So the students over here come over there and some of your students are transferred over here. So that is one of the easiest way to go ahead and empower your students to go ahead and have a great career in future. So I would recommend most of the colleges to go ahead and start scouting for different universities in different countries, because this has become a global trend right now. Any industry, let's talk about hospitality, healthcare, software, they are scouting and they are doing talent transfers. So you could go ahead and do that. And this is one of the easiest way to do it.
Mr. Umras Kausar, Miss or Mr. Umras Kausar, can you unmute yourself and ask questions? Because the question seems to be incomplete. What safeguards are available regarding to what? Umras Kausar. Okay, the person is not there. Any other questions from the participants?
Beena ma'am, I have a question.
Please.
Now, like you said, English is just a language, right? But still, there is so much importance given for TOEFL or IELTS to when a particular person want to go and work in other countries.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That
So,
is for UK and US.
Okay. Not
So
for
the
all.
Not for all of them. No, that is a misconception a lot of them have.
Fine, thank you.
It is for English-speaking countries, not for non-speaking English countries.
So any other questions? Are we taking? Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's all. Thank you very much, Beena Madam, for sharing your knowledge, the real-time knowledge, industry knowledge to us faculty members. I request Manjula Madam to propose vote of thanks for the session.
Pallavi, it's indeed a great pleasure to have you with us on this day, madam. So early morning, we disturbed you by asking us to take part in our program as the resource person. So you made us clear that as to what is the need for talent. The talent is the need of the day. So as rightly said by Steve Jobs, it does not make sense to hire smart people and then tell them what to do. We hire smart people so that they can tell us what to do. So the importance of talent is made known the entire world today. So in the global scenario, what is the importance of talent, not only at the global level, but even at the national level, how talent is important, you have made us known. So on behalf of Department of Management, Government First Grade College, Vijayanagar, I extend a heartfelt thanks to you. So once again, I would thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me, guys. And you guys are the ones who make the difference for the future generation. So please go ahead, be the light bearer, change thinking process that we have. You guys hold the key for it.
Sure, madam. Thank you.
All right.
So I'd like to thank our beloved principal for his keen cooperation and support in conducting this international faculty development program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee, Professor Kishore Kumar, Assistant Professor, Coordinator, PG Department, as well as the organizing secretary of this session, Pallavi, Assistant Professor, the coordinators, and Madhushri, Assistant Professor, Coordinator of this organizing team. So once again, I extend a heartfelt thanks to all the 3 members of the management department. I extend a heartfelt thanks to all the participants for the keen listening for these 2 sessions. So today we had 2 sessions, madam. Morning we had 1 session, as well as afternoon we had this session. So I'd like to thank all the participants on behalf of Government First Grade College, Vijayanagar. So thank you once again.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Manjula
Thank you,
Madam. for
Beena.
your honest
Have a
work.
nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you later at night.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, shall we wind up now, Madam? So,
Personally, I thank Beena ma'am for accepting the invitation. Also, I thank Principal sir for joining
Thank you.
for the session.
Beena Madam left the meeting.
I think so. Yes.
Okay, it was.
Thank you, team,
Thank you.
Sir, thank you all. Bye.
for the
Bye.
great session. Thank you. So,
Happy
sir,
Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
to all.
Happy Sunday.
so make an announcement regarding the
Yeah.
Monday's session.
The last session of the FDP program, the last day, 7th day, would be on Monday at the same time, 10:30 a.m. I request all the participants to join at 10:25 a.m. So after the session, we'll be having a valedictory session. So please join us and support us. Thank you all.